Recording in progress.
We're up and running.
Something's feeding back. There we go.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Can you see that hook in the vise?
Yep.
Well, thank goodness for that.
Lovely jubbly.
Right. I'm going to use a light thread because it's going to show up against the background, I think. And I've got a whining dog that wants to come in. And if he comes in, it's going to be absolute chaos. Because he'll hit the wires, the computer will fall over, the vise will go, the camera will go, and it won't get really very good. Right. Oh, I'm going to have to let... No, I'm not. Can I say good evening first?
Of course you can.
Good evening, everyone. Can I start? Oh, someone's feeding back like fun. I don't know who it is. Right, I hate doing these because I like to see everybody and I like to be in the room with everybody. And Pete, that's as fine a collection of guitars as I've seen. Is that a Telecaster on the wall? I see a blue one. He's muted, so that's all right.
Ollie, Pete, unmute.
It's a Telecaster and Strat as well.
Brilliant. They always were very indifferent. Sorry, I'm going off piste here, aren't I? Right. So look, I better start. This is a collection of flies that actually I've found very useful this year. So I thought I should do those rather than anything else. Now, because work at the moment is absolutely rampant, the schools, I've just literally 5 minutes ago come off a very exciting phone call about coaching and all the rest of it. So I haven't been able to prepare as much as I would have liked. But I wanted to share a couple of these designs with you because they've basically worked. They've caught me fish. Now, the flies, excuse me, the flies I'm going to be tying are what we call guide flies. These are, if you're out in the river or you're out in the lake or wherever you happen to be, the last thing you want to do is spend a fortnight on a fly only to have your client shove it up a tree on your first cast.
You're still in a brace.
And then you burst into tears, quite frankly.
Feeling as
if that happens over and over and over again, it just gets really depressing. So what you need is ammunition. What you need is things that you don't mind and you don't burst into tears when they do go into the tree or they go into the bushes or they go into the backside of a cow that happens to be passing or whatever it happens to be. So these are flies to use, tie simply, tie quickly, and get out there and catch fish. So if that's okay with everybody, I'm going to crack on. I didn't hear any dissent, so I shall crack on. Right, so the first thing, I've got some light thread in there. It wouldn't necessarily be light thread, but I'm just going to... Derek, is that going to alter the angle for you guys?
No, that's fine.
Now, the first job is to get some Arctic hare or rabbit foot. An Arctic hare is one of the most underused flotational materials out there. And why they ever thought that this thing here, this little thing here, this lucky rabbit's foot was lucky, I have no idea. Because here it is, it's singular. I mean, you've got to be pretty unlucky rabbit for a fly tire to end up with it, really. So anyway, I'm picking out some of the slightly elongated guard hairs. And this is designed to be rough and ready. The hook, for those of you who are making a note of these sort of things, is a size 15 Tiemco, TMC 10 something or other BL. Now, I'm going to just tie in those guard hairs right at the front of the eye of the hook and then raise them up and make a few more circling turns there, and then bring the thread right round the base so they are upright, almost like a comparadum, almost. Now I'm not going to cut out this lovely soft fur here. I'm going to use it. So I'm going to tie that in and cinch it in as I make touching turns down the hook shank. Okay? And you'll see that it really does balloon out. And that's the lovely thing. You've got a degree of buoyancy here. You've got a lot of buoyancy there. So in essence, you've got, I suppose, really, a shipman's buzzer for rivers. Now, this design came to me via the lovely Stanislav Mankov, and Stan, I reckon, is one of the best fishers in Europe at the moment. As he's young, it'll be for a long moment. So he is stunningly effective, and his flies are simple. Stan comes from Bulgaria. I think that's right, but he guides throughout Serbia and all through Europe, and he is just an incredibly good thinking young fly fisher, and he's one of those guys that has to tie simple flies, and this is one of his. Now I've got some very, very fine copper mylar, really light, and I'm just going to ease that through in the way that dear old Ollie Edwards showed me, or showed so many of us actually. Now the big problem is when you do tie it in that way, you do get it in a slightly segregated, you know, it starts to spring out. Don't worry unduly. That's all to the good actually. Now here in this little secret packet, I've got some of David Jadelica's hair. It is quite the best I've ever used. Why hare's fur should be any different, I have no idea, but it just seems to be a little bit different.
This is good stuff, Charles.
But trying to get it, Derek, is a nightmare, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
he just is so... Is he on the call?
No.
Anyway, so I put a little bit of wax in there and just moisten my fingers. I don't want this a tight loop, so I really don't. I don't want to go in for a really tight little noodle of dubbing. I want it to spring out and look dishevelled. Now I might tighten that up a bit because it does look a little bit dishevelled. So I shall tighten that bit up, catch down that mylar, and make a very rudimentary body. And like I said, this is really such a simple pattern, but it's an effective pattern. And no one ever said that you had to have complicated patterns all the time. Now, I'm not going to go against the turns. I'm going to go with the turns. So I'm following that rib. I'm following that dubbing with the rib, so it beds really in, so it doesn't get lost. Or, well, rather, I want it to become fused with the rest of the hare's fur, so it becomes part of the actual fly. Slide down there. There's that index finger or that signet ring finger going in there. And amongst this chaos on my bench, I shall find my whip finish tool. That's a result, quite frankly. And don't worry, I mean, I would be, years ago, I'd be in an apoplectic state seeing the fibres sprouting out like that. Don't be, it's great.
As long as it catches fish.
The buggier the better on this fly, it really is. Well, I'll give you an idea. It seems to be this colour combination because, let's just trim that off a bit. There we are. There you go. I was fishing the Usk and there was a really, really tricky fish. There it is, that's it. I'm terribly sorry it's not pyrotechnics in the vise, but you know, there you are, that's the opening fly. But I was fishing a really difficult lie on the Usk at Lanover earlier this year. And there was this one fish behind a willow that kept coming up and it, all the time, you know, those sippers. And I couldn't see what it was taking. And I tried all the usual olives and jinglers and all those sort of things. I put one of these on, it couldn't go wrong. Absolutely couldn't go wrong. So just dress up a little bit of float, not too much, fine tippet, long leader. We're talking about 16, 18 feet leader on the river, down to 0.10 tippet. Smaller if you can get away with it. But this, if you're in one of those situations on a river where you simply do not know what to put on, or indeed on a still water, shove this one on. And it's one of those times when it'll either work or it won't work. But mostly it works, and it's so simple. And you can darken up the colour, you can change the sort of dishevelled wing, you can do all sorts of stuff with it. But it's one of those lovely ones you can put in your box and fish with confidence. There you go.
And what's he called again? A shadow mayfly emerger?
No, that one I've just called it the H thing. But I'll send the dressing. I don't know what it's called really. I mean, we could call it Gerald, I suppose. I don't know. But there it is. And when you put it against a white background, it half look good. But you can't see it because it's down here. And I'm going to put another hook in there. Now this is one for you still water chaps. This one.
Thank you.
And it requires a certain amount of rubber. Okay. Now, how many of you use an Apps bloodworm?
Yeah,
Anyone?
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is sort of a refined Apps bloodworm because Derek, the one thing, are you recording this? Because it'd be nice if you were.
Yes, I am.
The one thing that always put me off about using an apps was having all that stuff sprouting out of it. And I always thought, well, there'd be a trout sitting there going to eat it and think, that's a lot of stuff to get in my mouth. And it's all stringy and there's long bits. And yet they do. And yet they seem to hoover it up. So, you know, I don't know. Don't understand it myself, but, you know, what's there not to understand?
Did you get to try that bloodworm I give you?
No, I haven't tried it yet. No. I'm going to go up to Innisfree. I'm going to try it on there, I think. Right, so sparing my own blushes, I've actually found some some of my hooks. I thought I didn't have any, but apparently I have. I managed to get hold of some, and this is that red bug hook, the
Charles Jardine red grub hook.
yeah, that's a badger.
Yeah.
Size 10 or a size 12. I prefer a size 12, but I put one in my Jardine's hook's the heart of the fly. No, they're not. It's a grayling bug red hook. No, it's not just for grayling. Some rather, I'll put it there. There it is. There we go. Some dreadful person used to just use one of these and call it fly tying, and it worked. Depressingly, it worked. Oh well, there we are. Right, so I'm going to go red on red. So you have to trust me. Well, it's a bit of orange actually. You have to trust me that there's some thread going in. Now, this stuff, that I've got is slightly different to the usual. It's, hang on, it's called Perfect Rubber. Have you come across it?
No.
It's, you know, when you say to someone, well, I'm tying with perfect rubber, it's got a sort of dubious connotation, hasn't it? But it seems to, it's got little flecks in it, and it seems to have a different property in it, and it seems to work rather well. So this is called engine oil. Now, I don't know about you, but if you had engine oil that color, you'd probably worry. But it's a sort of flecked olive. Now, the hardest thing, what I'm going to do is just tie in 2 strands either side of that hook. And the secret of this really is to get in that first turn or first couple of turns, because rather like span flex, I want to reduce it. Okay, it looks like tying a tarantula, which, and I don't like spiders at the best of times, so I'm just reducing that. I'm tempted to trim this away so it gets out of the way. Now, with all things like this, you tie in, but when you cut them both. You can't really see that. Well, you can now. You cut them both together. Don't cut them singularly. Otherwise, you'll end up chipping one bit, chipping another, chipping, and you end up with this awful sort of, you go back to absolutely nothing. Oh, that's made life so much simpler. Now, the reason I've done it that way round, because some of you will say, well, hang on a minute, why on earth didn't you just tie in the tail and then come back? Well, now I can tie in the other materials and I've got the balance where I need it. So the next job is to get some red mylar holographic and tie that in right at the bend. Okay. I'm going to march my thread up to the midships of the hook, and I'm going to look around for the bit of rubber, or the other bit of rubber I needed. Might have to sacrifice one of these. I'll do that.
I'll give me one.
And lay that across. Normally I'd tie it in, but I want it really, I don't want the bulk there, so I'm just tying that in midships there. Okay. Now this is where it's a bit macrame-esque, because I want to take my thread up to the eye. And the interesting thing is, Derek, when I tried to do this a few weeks ago, I couldn't do it because of my left hand. Now I can, so it's great, it's liberating. Right, so what I'm going to do is, this looks like an awful lot of faff for an apps, but it's actually worth it.
I noticed you got your strap off. I was going to ask you, how's your wrist?
Yeah, it's fine. It's, well, it's not fine. I mean, it's still repairing, but it's okay.
Don't get falling over again.
Well, try not to. You know, it's not a good idea at our age to start breaking bones. They take such a long time to heal. Now, this is where you do need the patience of a proverbial saint, because you have to negotiate all this lot and not let anything go. Otherwise, it will just unravel and you'll get very, very miserable indeed. Okay, so we got up to that bit. And you're probably thinking to yourselves, well, okay, how's he going to cut that off? How's he going to finish? And how's he going to lock it down? Well, he isn't. He's going to take it back one more time. And the thing about this fly is I do not weight it. Every time I put a bead in a fly like this, I find it loses its effectiveness. I don't know what anyone else finds, but you know, I actually think we're using beads way too much, quite frankly.
I tried a chamois today with a bead and it didn't work.
Well, it's funny, isn't it? I think they alter how fish actually take the fly. Now I'm just finishing off that area with a couple of turns just to lock in that holographic. And if you're really not too happy about those turns, then just all you got to do is put in a bit of super glue. I know I said it, but there it is.
You'll go to hell, Charles.
Sorry. Oh, someone's got feedback there.
Yeah, it's Pete. I got to mute him.
Oh, is it Pete? Is he playing a guitar or something?
He's got his computer on and his phone on, so of course he's getting feedback.
Oh. Right, so in goes some seal's fur. And this is where I will noodle it right up. Get the base, spin, hold, spin, hold, spin, hold. You know the deal, spin, hold. And just take this. This is basically ironically, your rib. And if it strands out, don't worry about it. All to the good. This is where you need a little bit of surgery. There we go. Oh, come on, you can come up. There we go.
Just a fiddly bit in the middle, isn't it?
It's always a fiddly bit in the middle. There we go. Strand that out. And the secret is to leave everything as long as you possibly can.
The color difference looks good as well.
It's a lovely combination. I mean, we tease ourselves that, you know, it's like a bloodworm, but does it really? I don't know. Right, so now you've got these dangly bits that you can choose pretty much how they operate, but what I would do is keep one or two quite long and probably around there. And don't, there's another tip here, don't cut it too tensioned, cut it quite loose. All right, so don't really cinch it down, just keep it quite loose. There you go. And that will fish static, but it does like a slow or a quickish figure of eight retrieve. And it really can, especially on a small still water, work incredibly well. The material, the perfect rubber, does take a little bit of searching. It's from America and it's not terribly common. I think it's used in bass fishing more than it is in fly fishing. And in fact, I haven't really seen it in anything. I've got a very dear friend of mine that finds these various things for me, that lives in America. But you know,
Angling Active have it in stock.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh well, get some. There you are.
Well, didn't kids have some toy stuff like that? I can't remember what it was called now.
you could well have it, but I mean, it's got to come from some source somewhere. But that's it. There it is. But if I do that, you can see the movement in it. So yeah, there it is, nice and simple. And I'm sure if you did an olive body, it would work just as well. But yeah, there it is, little chap. There. Boom, boom, boom. That's number 2. Not too difficult. Right, so this one, I'd have to do this one because it is so effective. Let's get the right hook for it. That's a little bit on the big side, but no, I'll do it. I'll do it on the proper hook, really. No, that's a bit small, but let's use that. Size 10, size 12. Even down to 14, but I don't think you need to go that far. I'll stick with this thread because this will work every bit as well. And this is what I call a pulling hopper. And I was fishing at Blagdon earlier this year on a boat with Jeff Mason, and I literally couldn't fish. I mean, that was it. The best thing I could do was a bung. And I'm, as everyone knows, I'm absolutely thrilled about fishing the bung. But I did actually get used to it because I couldn't retrieve. If I couldn't twiddle, I couldn't do anything. I could do that, but that was just way too fast for fishing the boat on that particular day. So I had to work it out as best as I could. But if I fished a bung, I'd have the flies just way too deep. The fish right underneath the surface film, and they're right underneath there, just feeding away. And Jeff really absolutely coined it in with this pattern. I mean, he just did so well. And it is slightly different to many others in as much the rib and just a few other little things that make a big difference. Now I'm going to select a very well marked badger, not badger, what I'm talking about, sort of a green wool really, but furnace edging into, well, no, it's a furnace. What am I talking about? Of course it's a furnace. Now, this is one of those weird things. Does anyone remember Bob Carnell?
I remember the name. I
Yeah, Bob used to do a piece in Trout Fish every month. And Bob was my idol. I absolutely idolized that man. He was the neatest, most loveliest man, and a beautiful fly dresser. And he always got me to use these types of hackle back in the day. And they weren't quite a hen hackle. They weren't quite a cock hackle. They were henny cock hackles. So they had the sort of semi-spikiness of a cock hackle, but they had the webbiness of a hen hackle. Lovely to use because you could use it in both capacities. And that is the joy of this pattern. You can use it as a wet, you can use it as a dry fly. And given the floatants that we have nowadays, both are possible. Now I'm going to cinch that. I've talked about this before. Always give that key. So I bend it up a little bit. So I've just put a little dent in that stem. So when it comes to rotate and turn that hackle, it makes life so much easier. So down to the bend of the hook, where I catch in this glorious stuff, this holographic, but in a lovely rich wine color. It's, if you can imagine the darkest, deepest claret you've ever tasted, that's what this is. It's sort of plummy. I suspect you know the one. There we go. That's gone in, and it hasn't vanished through the the threads of the thread, which is always such a good result, really. Now, here I am going to use some wax. Does anyone know where you can get really good wax from? You know, the classic.
Cobbler's wax.
Yeah, no, it's the one that some of the salmon fly tyres use. There's a certain percentage of paraffin, of cobbler's wax. I'd love to get this. I'm down to this bit. That bit there. That's all I've got left, and I'm feeling undernourished.
Somebody made some. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, it was a guy up in Scotland, and he was always at the shows. Now I've got some seal's fur. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that?
It's got a purple tint to it.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of UV in it.
Ah.
Cunningly. I think I got this from Flybox, or it was either Chuck and Duck, or is it Chuck and Duck?
Chuck and Duck, yeah.
Were you talking about Brian Burdett for the wax?
Yes, he is the that's the last shred from Brian, that bit. I don't see so much of him now. He doesn't seem to do the shows as much.
I think he was at the BFFI about 3 years ago, was the last time I saw him.
Yeah, that's the last time I saw him. But you're right, Brian Burnett. He was the sort of god of wax. And he used to work, I think, on the oil rigs, didn't he? And make this stuff up all the time. I suppose, you know.
I've no idea where he worked.
Yeah. Anyway.
We worked with Paul Little, Charles. Paul Little and his were the same wax.
I'll have a word with Paul. He might be my saviour. Right, so I'm just building up a reasonably chunky body. I know we've got a penchant for putting everything in a sort of a slim mode, but you know, every now and again it's nice to give a bit of heft to a fly, frankly. And that's all I'm doing here. So a couple of turns. Again, I'm going to go with that dubbing. There. And almost immediately it looks insecty. And I do take a couple of turns over and a couple of turns round just to secure that. Because I find I don't know if anyone else has encountered this with seal's fur, the contact with the rib and seal's fur, there's sometimes quite a lot of air that gets trapped underneath, and you find that there's some gaps there, and if you don't really secure it down, it can come undone. Now, there's very nice people at Kindale or wherever I get these things from. Tie knots in pheasant tails for me. Gone are the days when, quite frankly, I've got enough time to knot pheasant tail legs. I'm sorry, I'm a bad boy, but I have bought these. Will I go to heaven, do you think? No, well, I wasn't destined there anyway, so. Now I keep them quite short, and again, cinch in. Make sure that they've gone around properly. There. Now, a little tip, I don't know if you saw that going in, and this goes back to the dear old days of Donald Downs. Does anyone remember Donald? There's a deafening silence.
Yes, I remember Donald Downs.
Right.
So do I, Charles. Sorry, a lot of us got a thing.
Well, just break in. This is what it's all about, actually. Just unmute yourselves and come on in.
Donald Downs tied me woven detached body mayfly on his vice that he had on the top of his walking stick.
Oh, brilliant.
Yes, excellent. Still got it. That was at the Leicester Fly Fishing Show. God knows when that was.
It was when they had really good Leicester fly fishing shows, I guess.
Well, yeah.
So he did it as he went along, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, you know, he'd have this little hand vice and there he'd be. But anyway, so Donald always got me to, let's just do this very again, is to pull upwards there. And another person that did that was Ollie Edwards. Rather than pulling down where you rotate the whole thing around the hook, you pull up and you condense it. And it makes a huge difference to your fly time. So instead of pulling downward and tensioning downwards, you actually tension upwards with that loop. And it really...
Darren, that's how I do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Stays on
That's
top
how I
of
tie
the
it.
tank.
I tie it up to it.
Yeah. So I'm going to just put a couple of strands of seal's fur around that base there just to make it look fun. Bend that hackle back. And we haven't even cut it out. Crikey. Amazing. Well, wonderful. I thought I'd lost this, but it came into light, this rotational hackle plier. And here I'll just moisten those fibers and rake them back a little bit. There you go.
That's a C and F, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like it.
brilliant.
Couple of turns will do it. And in you go with your thread, and I go once round. There goes the thread in, and then I can go round again with that thread, and that's locked in. So I'm doing minimum turns really. Again, guide the scissor point into that area there. Get the thumbnail and push downwards. I could never fully understand why Ollie always putzed around with his flies. He was, you know, he's almost like a sculptor. He's trying it this way and crunching it this way and that way. And it makes a huge difference actually. And you get the aspect that you want. So now I've got those the fibers of the pheasant tail going back, and I've also got the hackle going back. That's really important for a pulling hopper. In goes the whip finish. Don't make a song and dance for this. You know, you're finishing a fly. And any way it can be finished, you finish it. We used to get so pompous about how people finish flies. You know, as long as it doesn't come undone in the first cast, it's fine. And if you have to go in there with a bit of super glue, get in there with a bit of super glue, because, you know, you kind of want your hard work to last a little bit. Let's get all these heresies out of the way, shall we?
What hackle is that, Charles?
It's a furnace. It's a very, very dark furnace.
I've lost the picture for some reason.
Sorry?
I've lost the picture. I've lost you for some reason. Yeah.
Well, let me explain. It's got, it should have about 3 legs each side, and it's got more. It's got about 4 legs each side, because we always know that trout bite the hell out of them and they always lose a couple.
Oh, I've got you back. It's okay, got you back.
Oh, you got it back?
I've got it back.
Good. Well, there it is, and I shall go around. There it is.
Tony, if you go to Charles's picture at the top and click on the 3 little dots, you can actually pin Charles so he stays center screen no matter who's talking.
Well, I'm normally on my iPad, but I'm on my phone. And I've got 3 little dots at the bottom.
Well, there we are. That's that one then.
Tidy.
Quite pleased with that. I'd fish with that. I'd fish with all of them, actually.
Charles,
Yes.
just to that hopper there, that's the way I do tie them for the Connemara Lakes and Connemara in West Galway. Exact
Well,
same way.
I mean, this has got Ireland written all over it, hasn't it?
That's what we had, but that's the way I tie them for Connemara.
Really?
And on the locks, the Connemara locks, because your fish with size 14s, maybe short shank 12 down to 16s.
Yeah, yeah.
And the core of a mask, you become bigger sizes, then with a wing coming out as well.
Oh, okay.
But those sizes are exact way I tie them for Connemara.
Isn't that interesting? Well, they work on
Also down in the southwestern region, Munster.
Yeah.
Black and red.
But it's this combination because it works both pulled or twiddled with some nymphs. I mean, on that day in Blagden, we had one of these on the point, one of them on the dropper, and a couple of muskins in the middle. And these actually held everything up enough, and you can use some floating in the top, and you know it's a lovely versatile fly. And if you actually want to fish it as a dry fly, it beds in so much easier. It really does. It gets right into the surface film. And I had that. I was at Farmore at the weekend fishing with a redoubtable Ben Beckwith, and that's always fun. And we wanted to do some dry fly fishing, and I got some new stuff called HND, and it's a really good silicon floatant. Okay, and I sprayed one of these with it, and it floated too high. I mean, you could throw bricks at the damn thing and it wouldn't sink. And you know, it didn't catch because it was sitting too high. So sometimes carrying a pace that you can go into a specific area with a dry fly is as important as the actual dry fly. It's how it fishes, not necessarily what you're fishing. And I
Breaking news, the Prime Minister has responded then to that resignation.
Sorry?
Oh, Pete's got his speaker on.
Oh, is he? Oh, right. I didn't understand a word of that, but there we are. I'm going as deaf as a post anyway. Right. Anyway, so that's that one.
Are you for Inniskillen, Charles?
Sorry?
Are you for Inniskillen in November?
Yeah, I think, well, is it going ahead?
It is, yeah. It is going
Well,
ahead.
it is.
Yeah.
The last time I heard that Stevie was going to get shot of it, he's going to sell it or something.
He panicked, so it caused so many people onto him.
Oh.
That's what happened. He panicked because everybody's baiting the email, you know.
He does.
So that's why he
He's a
flipped.
warrior, that boy. But yeah, I'll definitely get over there. I need to get over there, and I want to go and do some course fishing, actually.
No, I'm going to give you a couple of Harry's where we tie for the small locks in Connemara.
Oh, that would be great. I mean,
just try what I tie, you know, what we tie at home.
To be honest with you, I need to go out. I want to go and fish with Paul on Loch Con and all those other, because I haven't fished them. It's to my eternal shame, I haven't fished them. I've fished Melvin, I've fished Ern, but I haven't fished any really much else.
But if you want a day and Loch Corrib, get on to me. I'll organise the two of us.
Because I honestly would love that, because I absolutely you know, as you go through your fishing life, you want new experiences, you want new things to do, and this is my way of doing it, really. So, I mean, absolutely, I'd love that. I
organised it for Melvin Wood. The two was out with one of the guys with the Fly Time Guild, and I'll do the same for you, Charles.
I'd love that. But perhaps Derek and I would put us in touch, you know, GDPR and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But there we are.
can talk about November anyway.
Let's make that happen, because I'm not getting any younger and I keep breaking bits of me, which is not a good career move, frankly.
Oh, well, I just got you heart 12 years ago, that's all.
Anyway, I'm going to do the next fly. Right, so moving swiftly onwards. This is an old one, and it's my shout and rall against a world that is become absolutely indoctrinated with perdigons, with all sorts of things that go plop in the night. And I'm thinking, actually, surely a classic pheasant tail will work on a chalk stream. Surely that, and there are times when you go too deep. You go underneath the fish rather than meet the fish where they should be. And I actually think there's a case to be made for softer, lighter nymphs in our rivers. We seem to be compelled, if it hasn't got a bead on it, it's not going to catch as a fish, or it won't have the attraction. It will, if you fish it right and you see the fish. Anyway, this is a fly that goes back to the days of yore here. It's called the if I could only speak, the GE Nymph. And again, I'm going to use quite a specific thread. I'm going to use this orange one. I either use orange or claret, one of the two. I've got a reasonably long shank hook. This is one of the Partridge ones. It's one of the, what are they called now? Because that's kind of important.
SLD?
No, it's the I've never forgotten it. It's
Hit the
a
sprite,
Catskill.
Charles.
It's this one here. It's a Catskill Long. That
Yeah,
one.
they're good hooks.
They're lovely, and I quite like that little upturned barb. Well, I do like the grab grapes, but it's got that nice long shank that you can do stuff with, frankly. And I quite like that. So going back through the memory banks, I thought, I know what I'll do. But first, you have to get one of these. Now, these are quite rare. This is the great grey olive dyed marsh chicken. And it dyes a beautiful colour. Some people find them easier to gather than others, it has to be said. And the other material is this little character here, which is slightly easier but harder to get, if that makes any sense. It doesn't really, does it? Wood duck. And I use the fibres for the tail for the wood duck. It's still one of the most beautiful tailing materials I think I've ever used. Bit of silver wire or gold, either one. And a little bit of olive dyed partridge. There. So that's it. Oh, a bit of pheasant tail. There we go.
So on a size 12, Charles?
Yeah, it's a size 12. I think I'd be a lot happier with a size 14 on this one, but frankly, you know, this time of night, after a long day in the office, a size 12 long shankish fly is quite nice to have, to be honest. Right, so I'm peeling out from the side. I don't want the barred ones. I don't the black and white ones are the very obvious ones. I want the more lemon coloured fibres. And they've got such a lovely separation about them that just screams insect. You know, this actually looks like a nymph. But this fly would be much better off with a size 14, I've got to say. Now I'm quite careful how I rotate that round. This is one where you would rotate the bobbin around the hook shank, not pulling up, but pulling around and down, because it will center those tails and get them to spread out. And unlike the traditional way of doing things, which is to have them at around about half the length of the actual shank, maybe more, I'd go less. You know, I just look at the insect and say, right, well, okay, that's what is required here. The rib goes in, as does now the great grey marsh chicken. There we are. You want about, what about half a dozen strands of that? Because it really is fine stuff. I can honestly remember tying this fly when it was actually legal to tie it with condor. And if you look at the old original PVC nymph of John Goddard's, it was tied with condor herl. You don't see that much in evidence nowadays. I have no idea why. It's a consummate reason to go over to South America, really. Now, this is where I will be heretical as he hunts around for a bit of super glue. Well, I haven't got super glue, so I shall use a bit of varnish instead. Excuse me. Great grey marsh chicken is very fragile, as we all know.
It's hard finding the eggs as well.
Tricky, isn't it? So I will put on a little bit of that, some sort of resin, ideally super glue, but I'd let the super glue go off before I did anything else. Now I'm hoping that you can see the way that body just comes alive. You get these lovely little side fibers that, you know, that they've got the breathers almost. You know, it just oozes life, it really does. And this is where I will go for the classic 3/4 along the shank, up to about there, stop. Now, here's the thing. I will back wind there, hold that, and tie off. And that immediately situates my thread underneath that last turn, one turn over and up, and that material is secure. So just a little back wind from where you finish, go over, it's done. So you don't get this build up, so you can control the whole fly. This is where I will go the opposite way. A little couple of turns there. There's a sort of minute tag. And nice little easy, even turns of that gold up the shank. And there's absolutely no reason at all why this fly wouldn't work in still water as well. Now, if you're going counterclockwise to the body material, when you, and you all know this, but it's I've actually got to go through this because otherwise I feel as though I'm not doing a proper job. What I tend to do, what's often the way, is you just make one turn, that's it, you forget about it. Don't, because you haven't locked anything off at all. So by all means make that turn, but bend that material back, the ribbing material back, and then make a turn back, because that will lock it off. Otherwise, it's always going to be loose. Okay, so, you know, that's that done. Oh, God, I was going to use my scissors then. Don't do that. Oh, it is locked off. There we go. What? What? Oh, what was that? Someone dying on me? Now, I asked a friend of mine in the office who shoots a lot, can you get me a decent pheasant feather? And you know, a cotton pheasant feather. And we went through a whole bunch there was not one I really wanted. You cannot get mature pheasant anymore, or at least I haven't found any. Does anyone know where I can get hold of decent mature pheasant feathers?
Roadkill.
Sorry?
Roadkill.
Even those are too young. You know, going back to the day, you just honestly the lack of really wonderfully long adult birds is incredible. Now,
Bob Swan will have some, Charles.
sorry,
Bob Swan will have some.
will he?
Castle
Can you
feathers.
commandeer one for me, please?
Yeah. Any
Right.
particular colour?
Well, sort of pheasant colour,
Natural.
really. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's natural. Yeah. Anyway, right. So what I've done, I'm going to do that again because it's a fad of mine, and I might as well show you what that fad is. Pull out the pheasant tail that you want from that central stem. Hold it by the tips, stroke the tips out, and immediately you'll see there's a discrepancy. So I just get my scissors and cut. So I cut the tips into an even little block there. And then I'll get that hook so I'm looking straight down on top of it. Okay? And then rotate that thread. Excuse me. I'm going to have to grab a drink in a minute. I'm as dry as anything. And that will locate that material right tight down on top of the shank. No surprises. That's come right up to the eye. So when I cut or I do anything, I know it's not going to cloud the eye and bulk it up. Having said that, what have I done? I've got a loose fibre. Why is there always a loose fibre there? Damn it. Right, so back to there. And everyone knows what I mean by putting a hackle in the Defoe method, don't you? Bloody quiet.
By the tip.
Well, you make a chevron out of the tip, really. You do what you do with CDC. You cut that bit out, moisten it back. Right. Trim that bit out. Spring that bit forward. Work out how much you need. There you are. Probably about that much. And then you lay that across the top. So that's prepared. And all I need now is my dubbing. And you can choose anything, like here. Oh, excuse me. I've got some mohair. I've got some snowshoe rabbit, which I rather like, and I've got some yellow squirrel. There we are. All a sort of lovely olivey colour, which I can use. Okay, so you can, whatever you've got. I'm going to choose this nice soft rabbit foot dubbing, which is, it's just beautiful to work with. And in goes that. And it's so easy to dub. So anyone that's having trouble dubbing, use a dubbing that actually is easy. If you are struggling with dubbing, I'm sure none of you are, but pick something that is easy, not something that isn't. Like seal's fur or any of those. And some of the the synthetics are really tricky to work with. I mean, super tricky. Right, so now there's that defoe hackle going in there, and you fold it around. Just bring that stem so it's dead center and pull up again. A couple of turns, and then just ease it forwards. Keep the thread under tension, or the there it goes. There we are. There's that thumbnail spreading it either side. There you go, that'll do it. And you can measure it up. You can actually get, it's a wonderful way of doing any nymphs, be it damsel or anything really. So there it is. You can even use it as a little thorax on things. So there's all, you know, just, it's just a wonderful way of bringing in and making hackling comparatively easy. There we go. And what I tend to do here, I'll turn it around this way so you can actually see this. I hold that pheasant tail down so it, oh, it's difficult because it was away from me, but I hold it down so then I can make a turn round and keep it under tension. Okay, there it is. And what you can do, if you really, you know, if you want to make life really fussy and fun and all the rest of it, you can do this if you want. Actually, I'm going to use darker material. What have I got? Just use a bit of seal's fur. Having said it's difficult to work with. Let's just put a little accent in there.
I find with seal's fur, sometimes if it's difficult to dub, just mix a little bit of mohair into it.
Yeah, or anything that's a you know, sort of a softer fur. But
yeah,
no, I just wanted to show you this really because it's rather fun. There we go. Put that in. Take that out. Bend this back. And you've got a nice little sort of secondary thorax. And if you want, you can bring that thread forward because it's a similar colour. You know, just a bit of fun with it. But you've got a lightweight nymph that fishes just really rather nicely. And I think I'd rather have something like that than, on occasion, some of the more clumpy tungsten besotted creatures that we see invading our boxes. Not that I've got anything against them. I've got as much tungsten in my boxes as anyone, but it's just nice not to have those. And I noticed my dear mate Lee Hooper has been posting some pheasant tail and pheasant tail patterns on Instagram, and they're similar. And we're kindred spirit when it comes to flies. We like our natural materials and we like to keep it simple, but you know, elegant really. And that is, I think, you know, there it is. Let's just move it around. Oops. There you go.
So pleased to hear you say about the bead heads. I moved away from bead heads for river fishing completely.
Well, I still use them. I mean, I'd be very, very, I'd be hypocritical if I didn't. But I do think they've got a place. But I think I showed you this one. I'm going to go off piste a bit, and I'm going to show you a fly that's been working really, really well for me. Actually, when I look at it on there, it'd make a lovely little immature damsel. That would, really would. Look at that. Yeah. It's got to work. I've probably got the hackles, the legs a little bit long on that, but I don't think a trout's going to mind too much. But it's when I look underneath, I go, yeah, that's okay. That passes muster. Okay, now what was I? Oh, I know. So,
do you want to grab yourself a drink?
I'm gonna grab myself a drink. Can we take a moment or two?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a drink. I'm also gonna get a couple of different materials. I'm going to go off piece from what I was going to do and show you some of the fly. Well, show you a fly. Where are we? Well, 8 o'clock. Yes, I've got a couple more flies, Derek, before I bore the living bejesus out of all of you. But this one I quite like to do because it's worked rather well on the rivers for those of a traditional mindset. Okay, so bear with. Go and get yourselves a drink, a sandwich, fizzy drink, glass of wine, whatever. I'll be back in a moment. You haven't rushed off, have you? Any of you?
No, we're still here.
No, I know. It worries me.
You grab yourself a drink.
Ah, no, that's what I want.
I've got one.
Oh, good for you. Ah,
Yeah, I did have one.
Yeah, you probably drunk it, Pete.
This is a bit too Moorish. It should have a health warning.
You just need a straw with your bottle.
This is Tennessee
I
honey.
think we're-
It doesn't last very long.
this is where it all gets very personal, isn't it?
He's horrible to me, Charles.
Right, so I gather. Right.
The Tennessee honey's on offer in Sainsbury's at the minute.
And Tesco's.
And Tesco.
Litre bottle for a litre bottle's 25 quid.
Exactly. It's normally 35.
Lovely. I got a lovely.
It's rude not to, wasn't it?
I used to be very partial to that one time.
Yeah.
Very easy to drink. No glasses involved though, just a bottle. Too easy to drink. I did a Piero last year because I was drinking from the bottle.
Right. No, we're getting there. Right. Right. I've got cold tea at the moment. See, I know what it is to suffer for my art. I'm drinking cold tea for you guys. That's, you know, that's what it's come to, really.
Cold tea.
Yeah. I know. Well, it was warm when we started. It's vaguely warm now. Actually, it's not too bad.
My stove was blazing.
Right, onward. Ah, that's better. Right, so well done, Mike. Oh, there we are. It's gone quiet again.
That's because they're all on mute, Charles.
Oh, was it? Oh, right. Well, it just felt quiet, you know. Okay, so here we are. I'll use that. Should use that. What have I got here?
Size 12 again?
Yep. Off we go. So here I have a dead bird. Right, there we are. There it is. It's not just any old bird. It's a French partridge. But I'm not going to take the obvious hackles. I want the covert feathers on the wing, actually, because they're a lovely browny colour. They're sort of real. Yeah, it's almost like a rusty olive colour. So I'm going to grab one of those. But what I did find the other day, and I'm going to make you all incredibly envious now, what I was given the other day was this. You won't be able to see them all, but where are we? In fact, I'm going to tie with that one. I was given a whole bunch of Andalusian tapes.
Lucky boy.
I know, and they're absolutely exquisite. And this is the dark dun, and it's just scintillating. That's the right word. I mean, it's not quite. It's not quite a hen hackle. And it's not quite a cock hackle. It's just different. Anyway, I'm going to treat it a little bit like a hen hackle. I'm going to use orange, the thread that I had before, and I'm actually not going to use that hook. I'm going to use a different hook. That's too agricultural by half. I will use that. Are these?
Is that old capes, Charles, or new ones?
No, they're very old.
Yeah.
They're antique. You know, they really are. Derek, can you see that hook?
Yeah,
Good.
that looks smaller.
It is smaller.
16?
No, well, it's a 15. It's that 103 BL, which is really quite a nice wet fly sort of hook, actually. Now, again, I know there's two ways of doing this, and you know, some people say this is the way you do it, and others say no, that's not the way you do it. It's this way. But you come by things that work for you in fly tying, not other people. Other people are not tying the flies, you are. So if you find that by tying in that hackle first works better than tying in right at the end, do it. Just do it. I like the fact that it gives my fly balance. I can work with it rather than it works against me. That's what I that's what I enjoy. Now, this is where I start, sort of breaking every single rule in the book. I'm going to get some UV tinsel. Oh, God. In a classic wet fly. I won't be able to go to Yorkshire. I like Yorkshire too. So I'm going to double that round at that point there. And this is where discipline really does come into it, because I need to make sure that those wraps are really tight, really even, and there are no lumps and bumps, because I'm going to now take that mylar over those initial turns of thread. And I don't really want any surprises at that point. Do the trout care? Nope. I do. Yeah. Nice little butt. Let's put that over there. Now, next thing, again, a heinous crime. I don't know if you come across this stuff. It's hen's body quill, and I'm sure it's probably, you get this from another source somewhere, and it's cheaper and all the rest of it, but it's cheap as chips anyway. It's just sort of basically, it's sort of like a clear lurex almost. It's really odd. But again, approach is everything, and I'm going to make sure that I get touching turns going up that shank, or as touching turns as I possibly can. I'm going to wind this, and the whole idea of this is that the underbody comes through, So the choice of thread is absolutely crucial on this fly. And because a lot of the bugs that we get on the Usk and other rivers are orangey or dark brown hued, using orange is for me a very, very vital ingredient to a fly. And it seems to have populated my flies to quite a... Oh, I knew that would happen. I should have adjusted that. Why have you done that to me? Don't. My mentor in all things fly fishing and coaching and all the rest of it was a guy called Jim Hadrell. And he was a major in the Gurkhas. And Jim always had a saying that if you can't enjoy disasters, don't have them. And, you know, fly tying is littered with those moments, isn't it? Right, so I've gone 3/4 of the way up and down that body. And what I am going to do, that's brinkmanship, isn't it? Oh, and hope the whole thing stays in one piece. That's a high wire act in fly tying right there. Okay, so I'm going to get in here with my wax. And I'm going to run that through a few times. Get some of this wonderful David Jadelica fur right there. Just a little bit. So it's poppily. Is there such a thing in fly tying as poppily?
There is now.
Yes. So it's spiky. There we are. There we go. And then I've come quite a long way back from the eye. There's a reason for that. And I'll explain that in a second. All right. Let's get that. Come on, little lad. Yep. So hold the tip of the feather upright, stroke it back, veil it, give it key and wind. Doesn't look much, but it sort of works. And I've been using flies like this, not just on the Usk, but on the Taff. And they've worked so well. And I've really got into my, you know, sort of more traditional style of fishing. And loved every moment of it. You know, I take the dog down in the evening, and these rivers are so close. I mean, I just jump in the car and got the rods in there, got the dog, off we go, and we go and fish for an hour or two in the evening. And that close proximity of water actually does allow you to pick and choose and to take risks, because you know you can come back the next day or the day after or whatever. So you try stuff. And that's a lovely thing. If you're only going out once a week or once every fortnight, you're far more likely to stay in your comfort zone. So you use what was working before or what others have used and so forth. But going out on these little adventures, we've been able to, you know, I've been able to say, and I always talk to the dog, Kai, what do you think? Well, should we try this? Should we do this? You know, invariably he says yes. He's a really accommodating Labrador, frankly. And to go down some shallows, some riffly shallows, you're not going to catch big fish, but you know, you've got a team of 3 flies and you're dancing them and you're just casting them slightly upstream, keeping that rod tip high, keeping everything under tension, letting it dance through. And if I feel the fish, I've lost it. I'm looking at that line to just move or draw straight, then I lift. And you know, it's classic wet fly fishing. And this isn't classic wet fly. I'm about to put some light bright, some gold light bright. There should be a sharp intake of breath amongst you traditionalists. Right in there. And I sometimes put...
Dan from Yorkshire now.
Oh no. You know, I can feel that portcullis slamming shut. I sometimes put pearl in there. I sometimes put silver in some patterns.
Like a Midas spin.
Yeah, but blimey, it works. Not too much, just a few strands, that's enough. And because these flies are not meant to last forever, you only just go in there with a little touching turn. There it is. Cinch it down. But again, I always make sure that the thread is something that's part of the fly. That is sort of a tradition that is lost. And you know, oh, I'll just put in, you know, some Dyneema and keep putting it on, and you know, you get nothing for about 2 million wraps or something. You know, here you've got to actually make sure that your wraps are in place and you do everything properly. But that's it. You know, you can gauge things by the weight of hooks. This would go further up the leader, of course, and you get a heavier one, and that go in the middle or on the point, and you can judge everything to a nicety. And that's how I'm loving to fish at the moment. It's just fascinating. But I've got the rivers to fish them. You know, you can't do that on the chalk stream necessarily, although fishing one of these just subsurface can be devastating. So it's very similar to the Skew's original nymph. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun.
Is there a name for that, Charles?
No, not really. It's just
a pearly wet.
Yeah, just a little something or other, really. Now, Derek, can I make this next one sort of my last, because I'm just about to lose my voice, frankly.
Yeah, of course you can.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
And I'll happily do another one for you if you can put up with me. But I thought, as a number of people have been telling me that fish are on pinhead fry at the moment, I ought to do a pinhead pattern. Now, this is my plea to all of you. If any of you have got, or you can find, just even a small bit of the old grey braided backing that Master-line used to have, please let me have some. Does anyone remember it? It was quite thick, but it was really good braid, and it was a sort of smoky grey colour. And if I could get that, I would be a very, very happy man, I'll tell you. Right, so got a size 10 hook. Again, barbless. Again, grab gate. And this time I will use Dyneema. Sorry, I will. So there you are. There's your homework. If you can find me the Master-line braided backing. I'll explain what I used to do with it. Right now, I'm having to just muddle through, really. So there's some options here. There really are. Mostly, those options are using pearl, or there's a flat UV, or you could perhaps mix them together. But I grew up using that pattern of Ken Sinfoil's, the Sinfoil fry. It was all right. It caught a few fish, but at the end of the day, it wasn't as good as perhaps it should be. And the search is always, you know, that when they get on Pin Fry, as everyone knows, that has ever fished for them, they can be notoriously difficult. So I set about coming up with this pattern ages and ages ago, and it was for fishing at Rutland actually, and it turned out to be quite good at Chew and a few other places. This is kind of how it went, and I've got to try and emulate what I used to do with that backing, without the backing, if you see what I mean. So I've got my my pearl in there, and how you build up the body is really entirely up to you. They are quite thin, but they do taper up to the head area quite dramatically. I'm going to go back down. I'm going to chase that down with the thread. Now, if it separates, don't worry in the slightest. Okay, so we got that in. Good. Let's trim that out. And where are you? I had it going somewhere. It's all going so well. Now it's all going not so well. Oh, there. Now this stuff's called strong quill. It's a Sibi or Sibi or Sibi or I don't know material. It's quite good fun. And give it a bit of a pull there so it takes out some of the memory. And again, reach around, bring it round. There we go. And it does go into a nice flattened shape. So I'm just going to bring that down there. I'm not too worried about the bolt there. Bring this back up. And because it's such fine material, you know, I'm tying with the Dyneema, it doesn't really make much of an impact on that body. Again, touching turns up here with the Sibi or Sibi, or oh, I don't know how you pronounce the thing.
I can never pronounce it.
Sibi.
Sibi.
Oh, I don't know. That stuff. Yeah. Again, round, tie off. And you've got a quite a nice little neat body there. What I was gonna do, actually, hold on to this thought just a second. I just need something. Might have to go to the artwork bit. Hold on, it won't take a moment. Well, it might actually. That is some thought. Get around a problem. There we go. That's a badger right there.
That's a good background to the fly.
What, my backside?
No, the blue seat.
The what?
The seat, the blue seat. Is it blue or grey?
No, it's not. It's a sort of dull, emaciated black, actually. Well, shall I lay on the floor and tie this, Derek, and and then you get perfect background? Yeah. So I've got a grey marker.
Eric, I'm going to have to leave at the moment now.
Okay, Matt.
But, you know, it's funny you should say that. So am I.
Thank you very much, Charles. Bye now.
Cheerio. You see, I knew we'd have to lose a few. Now, this is the most lurid, fluorescent, ghastly marabou I've ever seen, but actually it's going to be perfect for the job. I'm going to tie it by the tips, okay? And now I'm just going to wind it a little bit there. It's a very virulent colour indeed. There we go.
Proper pink.
Well, I don't know what it is, Derek. It's livid. I mean, it's sort of nuclear coral, I think, really. Now, got that bit in. Oh, excuse me. I'm getting over. I've had a chest infection. Well, that wasn't a good idea for ages, and it's talking so much has exacerbated it. Now I'm getting here. Don't laugh. A whole bunch of, well, say a whole bunch. Around about 4 long CDC feathers. Okay. Now the whole idea of this, oh, it's probably too many actually. And you'll see why I wanted that that backing. Was I'd finish and put the backing over the entire fly. And because you had that variegated, you opened up the sections of the braid, you got the most amazing scale effect you've ever seen. And I'm still looking for it. And you know, it really was the most effective fly I think I've ever used for pinhead fry. I'm just going to trim those off a bit. So you just encase the whole fly. So now I've got to try and recreate that as best as I possibly can. Now before I finish this, I am going to put in, and Owen, you'll like this, you'll put in a bit of Irish jungle cock right there. This isn't the best actually, there's an awful lot of splits in there. But
I wouldn't be worried about the splits. The fish wants it, he wants it.
yeah. There we go. And this always takes the time, doesn't it? Just preparing that feather. I should really have glued these prior to tying them in. But I am a good boy. I do take one off one side, one off the other. I wished I. This is rubbish, this cape, actually. There we go. It's probably best just to split the thing and then just use one side of one, you know, one side of the other. Has anyone else had that problem?
Or splitting a jungle eyecock.
Yeah.
No, never an issue. Split down the middle.
Yeah. Just really irritating, but there we are. Yeah. That's better. There we go. There we are. Now this is where I build up this bit by the head. I go very quiet. Again, I move the vise around so you can actually, you know, I can see bits. So that's what I want you to see, is that flaming red right there. Right, I'm going to finish that off. And then there we go. Cut that bit off and reconnect it. There. Oh, no. That's completely wrecked that jungle cock. But we can do something about that in a second. Just pull that CDC right down tight. There. Now I can't compress it like I can, or I could have done with the lovely, never to be forgotten braid, but it's close enough. Now the reason I put CDC in there is to give it neutral buoyancy, so it behaves like the natural wood. And you know, very often we don't, you know, we tie flies because they look like something rather than how we want them to fish. And I'm far more keen about how this fishes, to be honest. And as a result, you know, it brings another dimension to the whole thing. So now, jungle cock is a disaster, frankly. Never mind. I hope I'm forgiven. Really cinch that in. And
the jungle cock reality is only for the fishermen, not the fish.
Well, in this case, I think you're right, and 9 times out of 10. But I do like an eye in the fly, because one of the key elements of a pin fry is the eye.
Yeah.
And
I agree with you on that.
That's why it's there, quite honestly.
Yeah.
So
I agree with you.
now I'm gonna do that heinous thing and bring in.
That'd be actually lethal for sea trout on the coast.
I've never tried it. I've never tried this with sea trout, I must admit.
It'd be lethal on the coast, on the beach.
It might
Do you ever
be.
see those tiny little flies, they're like spider flies on top of the water?
Well,
you'd have the spratting around, the herring spratting not far out from them later on in the year. That's where that'll be deadly.
It might work for mullet, actually.
It definitely work with sea trout.
Well, let's try it. Right, so I'm gonna. And then I'll bring this around and put a bit more there. Not too bad.
Charles?
Yes.
The best thing I found for sorting eyes out when the jungle cock splits is a product called Fabric Fusion. It's
Really?
something for leather and fabric, but it was I use it for feathers on the recommendation of Scott Byron, a Carrie Stevens type tire.
Oh, okay.
And it's absolutely brilliant. You just coat it on the back and it will just hold it together.
And what's it called again?
Fabric Fusion.
Oh crikey! Look, can you guys see that? There.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Pops.
Whoa! Now, if only trout had a UV torch. If only. Look at that. Blimey.
I'd fish that confidence.
I think I'll need to sit there quite a long time with this. But really, that's it. But this I would definitely use. I do miss the I miss the that braid, but actually, I'll live with this. It's a long way away from a cinfoil fry. There you go.
Have you done a search on eBay or Amazon or anything like that?
I have, and I've ended up. I've ordered some sort of some stuff that they use in, I don't know, model making or something, but everything's got an insert, Derek, and and the answer is no, not properly. I'll wait to see, but quite honestly, I'm not sure I'm going to need it. That's about it. But as I say, it's how it fishes. You cast it out, you twiddle it back, and it's more of a dry fly. It just sits right underneath the surface film. So you can actually just hold it there, and it looks like a wounded or an injured or a dead pinhead fry. So you just cast it out, and you just fish it like a dry fly, wait for it to go away. It's great. It's worth a shot.
Yeah.
There's a fly called a gadget.
Yes.
It's very, 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 very similar to that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it is actually. And that's got peacock in the bag. Yeah. It's got peacock hull, hasn't it? I think.
A bit of peacock, not an awful lot.
Yeah.
So you can change the tinsel colour, but I'm going to try that now this year with CDC, and like what you did for that fly on the gadget we fished for the sea trout.
I'd love to know how you get on.
I will let you know.
Yeah. Anyway, look, Derek, is that okay for you?
Yeah, that's fine.
I haven't shortchanged you or anything. Well, it's 9:15. I'm
very glad we're watching you.
You should go and pour yourself a whiskey now, Charles.
I don't drink spirits. You know that, you naughty boy. But I will have a glug of wine on your behalf.
I'll have a whiskey for you.
Oh, look, I've got a cup of tea just coming in from the left-hand part of the stage. Fantastic.
Is it warm?
But yeah, no, it is. I mean, the hand was lovely, and it just came there with my favourite mug on it. So yeah, I'm a very happy boy. Gentlemen, it's fantastic as ever. Derek, I love doing these. I know it's a pain to actually get set up because I always do something completely tragically wrong. But
we get there in the end.
I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, actually.
Thank you, Charles.
Thanks, Charles. Really
enjoyed.
Fantastic.
Charles, enjoyable.
This summer.
Take care now.
I will.
Thank you, Charles.
You take care now. Cheerio.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.